Hi, my name's Dion, and for this assignment, I have decided to focus on patterns. So, a bit of background information: my child's name is Ben. He is in pre primary, and in the previous assignment, one of our learning activities was also patterns. However, he was unable to create a full pattern, but I believe that that was because of the example that I had provided him, which was far beyond his capabilities. So, in this assignment, I chose to continue with patterns to develop his understanding and work towards creating patterns with two, three, or four different colours. I chose these learning activities because they include some of his interests and enabled him to scaffold his own learning. For activity one, we created Lego towers. We began by sitting on the floor together and just talking about what patterns were. He was able to tell me that a pattern is one colour, then another colour, the same colour again, then another colour, which was great. So I asked him if he could see any patterns around his house, and he showed me a pattern striped cushion that is on his parents' sofa, as well as showing me the tiles on the floor. So I asked him how he knew that that was a pattern, and he told me because it was a big tile, a small line, a big tile, a small line, the small line being the grout in between the tiles. I then asked Ben if he could create a pattern using the Lego with just two colours, which he did with ease. So then I asked him if he could create a pattern using four colours, which again he did really well. So I asked him if he could explain how it was a pattern and why it was a pattern, and which he was able to say because it starts with white, goes to blue, yellow, and green, and then it goes back to white and it keeps on going. So we moved on to activity two, which required him to create patterns using sequins and stickers. Initially, I asked him to just create a pattern using all of the resources that I had laid in front of him, but I noticed that he went straight to the sequin stars, even though the stars were the same colour as the stickers. Although Ben did a really good job with the sequins, I could see he got really irritated because they were quite small. So I told him to leave the stars and we just focused on using the coloured stickers instead. Ben was able to work his way through each spider leg with complete ease. He completed patterns of two, three, and four colours. But once we got to the final leg on the bottom right, I asked him if he could create a pattern that was something like pink, pink, yellow, pink, pink, yellow, instead of one colour, another colour, one colour, another colour. Which he did, but didn't complete it on with the stickers. So I asked him if he thought that that was a finished pattern, which he was able to tell me that it wasn't, but wasn't sure where to go with that answer. So I just reminded Ben that a pattern had to have the colour, the colour, the colour, and then repeat it. And then I asked him again what colour he thought might come next to complete the pattern, to which he answered green, green, yellow, pink, pink, blue, which was great. So for my final activity, we decided to change the colour of the stickers into different sounds to create body percussion patterns. Ben chose the first pattern to be following the pattern of pink, yellow, pink, yellow, pink, yellow. He chose the corresponding sounds and created this pattern. Pink, yellow, pink, yellow, pink, yellow, pink, yellow. He then went on to complete the pattern of yellow, blue, green, pink, and came up with this sound pattern. Blue, green, pink, yellow, blue, green, pink. So from this assignment, I could see that Ben was able to understand patterns much more than what he did last time. I found that he was able to recreate visual patterns into a sound pattern with absolute ease and was able to explain the characteristics of a pattern. So, continuing with patterns, I would start to include numbers and begin to identify patterns within number sequences like odd and even, as well as patterns of 5 and 10s. I would do this because the Year 1 curriculum actually states to skip count beyond teen numbers. So I would include numbers up to 10 just to begin introducing it to him. So to do this, I would use things like number lines as visual aids, but I would also include number hopscotch, or even I would create a giant number grid on the floor and ask Ben to skip count by odd numbers or skip count by even numbers or by fives or by tens. So I would do this because I know that Ben enjoys physical activity, but it's also a fun way to include number patterns. So as well as number lines, hopscotch, and giant number grids, I could also utilize skip counting songs, which I found on YouTube. So from this assignment, I learnt to provide examples that are within the child's academic level. I also learnt to ask more questions like why and how, because it gave me a much better understanding of the child's knowledge. I also learned that the questioning is really difficult to find the right questions to ask. I learnt to look ahead into the next curriculum as well. I think doing that definitely makes it easier to slowly integrate into your lessons. So, like I said in the previous slide, the Year 1 curriculum asks to skip count and identify number patterns beyond teen numbers. So, I would slowly integrate number patterns and skip counting with smaller numbers up to 10. So if I was to do this assignment again, I would provide more colours and objects for Ben to complete the patterns with, as well as include single digits numbers in the patterns. And I would also be sure to include resources which are large enough for him to manipulate easily. Thank you.